Da, da, theme song, theme song. Da, da, da. I'm Tanya, and this is A Thousand Eyes in One podcast. Unfortunately, Nikki is sick, so today we have a guest. I called my banners and I got an answer. And go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes. We received the raven from the House of Thousand Eyes, and House Crow will always answer the call. It's AK from AK Watch. How are you, madam?
I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful. Can you tell everyone where to find you online?
Absolutely. I am on the YouTubes under AK Watch, and if you fancy random nerd things on Twitter, I'm AK_DS09.
Perfect. To find previous episodes, go to thousandeyespodcast.com. You can also find us on YouTube, A Thousand Eyes in One podcast. And if you'd like to follow us on social media, we're on Twitter as Thousand Eyes One, Facebook and Instagram, A Thousand Eyes in One. If you're interested in our speculative fiction book club, that is Wine on an Empty Stomach on Instagram. All right. What were your initial impressions of this episode?
Initial impressions is this is my fave episode so far. Like every time they come back, there's some little tidbits or just something overall that like ramps the game up a little bit more. So this one had a lot in it for just the 1 hour. They crammed a lot, and it didn't seem overly rushed at all. It all just fits. It works. They're doing really good with the timing on this throughout the series. So yeah, I really liked it. There's a few elements that I'm upset that we're not going to get. I found out that some things were cut, but we can get into that after.
Yeah, I think this episode was only 58 minutes, I think. But they did cover a lot. Right. Yeah, they did cover a lot. What did you think of the time jump, this 10-year time jump?
I'm actually kind of glad they got to it, because I was wondering how much time we were actually going to get with our younger actresses. I do miss them. They set this up brilliantly for the older actresses to come in and take over those parts. So I'm glad to see them, because this gives us we're getting to the meat of the actual story. Like, we're still world building a little bit here, but we're moving to where we should be moving to. Like, the intrigue works a little bit. There's some newer things that they've switched up and changed that I really like. So I'm here for the time jumps.
I liked it too. I was wondering when we were going to start getting into more of the conflict, because like you said, it was a lot of world building, which I'm not mad at. I love world building, but I didn't want a whole season of world building.
Right.
You know, we need some big tension, you know? So we start the episode with Rhaenyra in labor. It's like all zoomed in on her face.
Looking like her mama.
Yeah, but with her labor going a lot easier.
A lot easier.
This is her third baby, allegedly with her husband. And the Queen Alicent. Last week, I decided to walk back some comments I made about Alicent. And
never do that again.
I decided to be sympathetic. And I'm never doing that again, because I now am once again team fuck Alicent and everything she stands for. You know,
wholeheartedly.
Her whole crew, everybody. And I take back everything I said sympathetic. If you listen to the spoiler section, you'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I walked back some comments, and I'm putting those comments back, because she had the nerve to request to see the baby the minute it was born. Like, not even the decency, like, for someone who talks about honor and decency so much, she didn't have the decency to at least let the baby get wiped down, to at least let the placenta get on. Yeah, she hadn't even passed her placenta before the request came for her to send the baby. And it's like, for what? To do a wave check? That's it?
It don't matter. It don't even matter what her reasons were. No, you leave that baby and the mama alone. And if you thought that anyone was going to send their child, their very helpless newborn infant, into a room where you're in control and they're not going to be there, you had to have known Rhaenyra was going to get up and come. You know her well enough to know that she's going to see right through your bullshit.
And it's like her baby is like, by the time she gets to that room, her baby's what, 6 minutes old? Alicent could have come to her instead if she needed to see the baby
So
that
easily.
badly. And it's like it's extra insulting when you get up to her rooms and see that she's just in there getting fitted for a dress. She's not even doing anything important.
And of course she has to save face, because she said, oh, you should be resting, but you can tell by the look on her face. No, she didn't care about that. She did not care about any type of hardship that Rhaenyra had to go through right there. And first of all, Crispy called outside in the hallway, sir, you're there to guard. Okay, continue to guard that wall. Don't say shit to me. We have nothing to say to each other.
Right.
And secondly, again, Alicent, like I challenged my my chat when I did the watch along last week. It's like, y'all, if you come back and watch this, put in the comments how many times I said fuck Alicent throughout the whole episode, because I swear every time she was on the screen, I just rolled my eyes like, oh, this bitch is talking again, for fuck's sake. I cannot. And there's so many people that are still buying the sympathetic Alicent that the show has presented. I'm like, y'all, just wait. Just keep watching. You don't need to believe me. I get it, but just keep watching. Reserve your judgment until you really see this whole thing.
I feel like this episode, though, gave us enough to not like her.
You would think
from the beginning.
There's still people that are Team Green. It amazes me.
That's wild. Like, well, I mean, I guess somebody has to be, right? If that somebody is just not me.
I suppose. Not I. I am very staunchly Team Black all the way.
Yeah. I liked that Laenor and Rhaenyra have grown to be like besties.
They're so awesome together. They are.
Yeah.
Look, Rhaenys and Corlys raised both their kids the greatest way they could have. I swear, in all of the couples that we've seen throughout this series so far, and then with Game of Thrones, they're the best. They vibe so well. They don't make a move without the other. They communicate decently well when there's an issue. They talk it out. And they try, I'd say at least 95% of the time, to move as a single unit and put up that unified front. And they've instilled that into their children. And Laenor, as precious as he is, he's doing the job. Harwin, sir, you could have kept your ass outside for a few hours at least until it got dark, but I get why you're there. And Laenor, nobody even had to say anything to him. He snatched up the other two boys. Hey, y'all should be in the dragon pit. Come on, let's go. Come on.
Well,
and they gave a wink out the door, and he let daddy and mommy have some time with the new baby. Like, just he's the best.
He's accepted that Harwin is his brother husband. They did
and he
that
has
little
no
nod.
qualms with it.
Well, because he has his little thing on the side.
He does,
and it goes back to that conversation they had on the beach.
That first one, they set up their game. They read each other correctly. They vibed again. They move as a unit. I mean, there's trouble along the way. Obviously, nothing's ever really completely perfect, but they're doing well together. They really are.
Rhaenyra is kind of wilding a little bit, because how do you explain the commander of the City Watch just always around and in your rooms? Like, doesn't he have a City Watch to command?
Aren't there secret tunnels you could tell this man to use?
Like, he's just kind of around with like no real explanation.
Like, for no real explanation of being there. Like, hey, baby, I understand. I get it. But there's a bit of decorum that you need to keep showing. You are heir to the throne. I get it. You can do what you want. I understand. But there's a way that you have to be doing those things, so you don't have other fires to put out along the way. And she's not doing that, unfortunately. I am very much Team Black, but Rhaenyra, get your game together, baby. Get it together.
She's definitely doing a lot, and Harwin's doing a lot, because
the most.
Yeah, it's just like, why are you hanging around the castle right now? Like, this is why people are talking. Why are you always coming out of her rooms? Like,
At all hours of the day.
why would the commander of the City Watch need to be in her rooms? There's no reason at all. So yeah, I can see why people are talking, and she is kind of wilding out for being so brazen.
Mm-hmm.
We saw the dragon pit, the inside
Looking
this time.
awesome.
Yeah, I really
And
liked
dragon
it.
training. We got
And
our own
dragon
how to train your dragon
Yeah.
Westerosi edition.
Yeah.
I loved it. I
I
loved
liked
it.
it a lot. We find out that Aemond is dragonless.
Yes, he's in the same situation as Rayla or Rhaena.
Mhm.
Yeah, they both had eggs, but the egg did not hatch. The dragon inside died before he could get there. And the my chat was laughing at me when we watched this episode because I saw what was coming, and I was like, okay, hold on, don't be mean to the boy. Don't do that. But then when it happened, I cracked up because that shit was funny.
The pink dread.
The pink dread. Look, I'm sorry. Okay, that you're a younger sibling. You just should expect that at all times. And I like that they actually did that because it shows the relationship that Rhaenyra's kids and Alicent's kids have. They don't care. I mean, I don't want to say that they're completely oblivious to what's happening. You know, there's breadcrumbs out there. They haven't put them together yet. One of them very much so will very soon. And he's going to buck up and ask. But right here, they're just kids together. They're family. You know, cousins are said to always be like your first friends when you're growing up. And this is exactly what's happening here. They're like their own little dragon pack. I don't know. What do you call a group of dragons? No clue. So I'm used to the wolf pack. So I'm just going to call them the dragon pack. They're all cool with each other. Maybe. I mean, that works just as well. Who knows? If anyone knows that, enlighten us in the comments. Let us know. But they move together as really good friends, and you know, you could tell they have some type of caring for each other, and it's done in jest. Yes, Aegon's a shitty older brother, but he's not doing anything extremely malicious. Like this was legit. I could see me and my cousins doing this exact same thing, just messing around. And you argue with your older siblings, and then you go to sleep, you wake up, you do the shit all over again the next day.
The fact that it's Aegon with Luke and Jace.
With Luke, yes.
You know, teasing Aemond is also a great way to show that they, even though they're bullying Aemond, they don't have they're not divided.
They're not, there's no animosity there.
Yeah, yes. They're just being, you know, shitty little kids, which is what, you know,
which is normal.
Yeah.
That's very normal.
Helena makes a comment that I want to talk about in the spoiler section.
Yes.
Alicent, we see Alicent talking to her, and it's like so clear from Alicent's face that she cannot relate to this little girl, and that, you know, maybe she's trying, but she cannot relate to this little girl. And when Aemond comes in, he's all upset. She finds out that he's in the dragon pit again, she says. So he's been doing this a lot, going down there trying to tame a dragon.
By himself, with none of the trainers or guards with him. You idiot. That's not brave. That's just you being an idiot.
No. And Alicent assures him you'll have a dragon one day. And Helena says he'll have to close an eye.
He'll have to close an eye. And it's the way she says it. That little girl, I'm watching to see what show this little girl is in next, because to put that nuance in the tone of her voice, the way she says it. Yeah. She kind of, I was thinking about it earlier. She kind of reminded me of Luna Lovegood.
Yes.
From the Harry Potter series. Yes. She very much fits that. I know something and I'm saying these things, but the way I'm presenting them, nobody really understands. So everybody just thinks I'm weird. But then the shit comes to fruition and everyone is like, holy fuck, okay. Like, yeah. It's very interesting. And also, again, fuck Alicent. Alicent don't like none of her kids. She's looking at Helena like, bitch, why you weird? And she's looking at Aemond like, why are you such a pussy? Get your shit together. And it comes to Aegon, like, oh my God, what the hell am I gonna do with this damn boy? You need to man up, be on the throne. Aegon, Aegon is my favorite meme for the episode. Shows Aegon and Jaime Lannister side by side. It says Aegon's pushed more kids out of a window than Jaime Lannister has. The memes for this season, like, I did not like season 8 at all of Game of Thrones,
Me neither.
but the memes gave me life. And the memes people are coming up with for these episodes have been hilarious so far.
They have. Alicent makes another comment to Viserys. She says, it's a wonder, talking about Rhaenyra's kids, she says, it's a wonder their eggs ever hatched.
Jealousy.
And it's interesting that she would say that, considering her children are only half Targaryen, and Rhaenyra's children come from 2 lines of dragon riders.
Yep.
So the fact that she would say, like, just because, well, technically only one.
Like, technically it's only one line.
Yeah, we know who
but
their dad is.
Rhaenyra's genes are stronger.
Well, I mean, Rhaenyra's children are half Targaryen, just like Alicent's are. So why should Alicent's children have eggs that hatch and Rhaenyra not? Like, do the dragons not like bastards? Like, but.
And therein lies the biggest problem with Alicent. She's holding on to this grudge. Again, it's Rhaenyra and her guild of evil exes. Alicent and Crispy just do not want to let go that this girl that they both loved played them, as far as they're concerned. That's how they feel about it. And she does not want to let that go. And things are not going wrong the way that Alicent thinks that they would have. Because
or that she thinks that they should have.
Yeah. For how long was she trying to get Rhaenyra to focus and act like an heir or whatever, like her royal lineage demands? And Rhaenyra has not completely done that. Even now, at this point in the story, she has not completely done that yet. And everything still seems to be moving forward. No, there's whispers about her kids being bastards, yeah, but nobody's blatant enough to come out right and say it. She's the only one still harping on it, and always bringing it up to Viserys.
And for her to make that comment about it's a wonder their eggs ever hatched, your trueborn son's egg didn't hatch.
Yeah.
So are you saying
but
that
both of Rhaenyra's did?
Right. So are you saying that your trueborn son is not trueborn because his egg didn't hatch?
Mm-hmm.
She's not thinking these comments through. She's letting jealousy and anger lead her, because I do think she's very jealous of Rhaenyra.
Rhaenyra's still living her hot girl summer.
Yeah.
And she hates it.
She absolutely hates it, because Rhaenyra is doing all of the things that you shouldn't do as a lady. And Alicent followed all the rules. And she's still winning. Yeah, Alicent followed all of the rules. Rhaenyra followed none, and she doesn't see Rhaenyra getting punished or suffering consequences. And it's making her angry. Yep,
she didn't get to choose the dick that she sat on. So Rhaenyra had that choice, and Alicent's mad about it.
And she's only this invested because she wants her son to be heir. It's completely self-interest. She doesn't care. Yep. She says to Viserys that it's an insult against the crown and the realm, but she doesn't care about that. She doesn't really care about that. And Viserys just doesn't even want to hear it. So it is truly her self-interest, because if everyone else is going to ignore it, her husband's ignoring it, her father's ignoring it, therefore the realm has to ignore it and just pretend that they don't see what they see. She's harping on it because she wants her son to be heir, and that's it. She doesn't actually care about Rhaenyra's honor. She doesn't care about how the realm is going to receive
None of that.
It's just
and let's not forget, we also have to take into account here that Aegon don't want the throne. And I love that they put that conversation in there with them, because he even after the event happens that really trickles everything off, he's still like no, that's right. My sister's the heir. I'm good where I'm at.
Right. And honestly, I mean, the life of a prince seems a lot more lit because you don't have the responsibilities of running a kingdom, but you have all the riches and can just kind of go do what you want and just live your best life.
the kid is standing in a windowsill, having his Homelander moment, jerking
Yeah,
off to the seven
and
bells,
you
looking
know,
at the set,
she comes in the room and sees her son pulling his meat out a window and
and
doesn't even address
stands there
it.
and waits until he's done, and then starts talking to him.
It's like, you're not
Ma'am.
gonna address it. It's like he's pulling his meat out a window so that he can make it rain on the small folk. And you completely bypass that and tell him he's the heir. Like, is that the heir that we should want?
Random tidbit. It's neither here nor there, but why does he just have a mattress on the floor by that window?
You know, I wondered the same. Where is his bed?
Is that where you actually sleep in
It
your
must be
room?
because his mother went there to find him.
Like that's so weird.
That was really weird.
That's so very weird. I mean, but I'm sure that's not gonna add up to anything. It's just a thing that happened.
It was a weird thing to see in just a
Yeah.
little room with a mattress on the floor.
Yeah, but she's sitting there trying to explain, like, Rhaenyra will cut down anyone that challenges her rule or tries to get in her way, and he's like, okay, so I won't challenge her then.
Right.
This is very simple. I don't even want to do that. And she grabs his face, like, and you're a mom, and also in growing up, if our moms really want us to listen, as they say, they will put hands on you. They don't have to necessarily hit you. They just have to grab you the right way. And she like grabs and smushes his face, and you can see the look in his eyes. Credit to the kid that's playing him, that actor, that he's like afraid. Like, this is not
normal.
This is not normal for her. Like, she looks so unhinged. Olivia Cook, I knew she was gonna kill this role. She's doing so great playing it. She looks so unhinged when she's saying it, and he's looking at her like, bitch, calm down. Like, even with that, it's kind of sinking in, but it's not. I mean, what happens a little later once we get to the training, I'm rethinking it now. I don't even think that came into play right there. I think that was Aegon being Aegon, but I'll explain what I mean when we get there.
Okay. Another thing that happened, well, actually, we'll talk about that when we get to the training yard. Laena, we get a scene with Laena and Daemon flying their dragons, racing each other and having the time of their life, which, by the way, I didn't realize she was pregnant when she was doing all that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
It was another How to Train Your Dragon moment for me, because this was like Hiccup and I forget his girl's name in the movie, but yeah, they're riding around on the dragons playing tricks with each other. And
having such a good time.
And Vhagar is huge.
He's an airplane.
We finally get to see Vhagar, and that huge plume of fire that Vhagar lets out, and then Caraxes just comes through, and we got Doctor Who, the rogue prince coming through, like, look, ma, no hands. Right. and he flies right through it. So you see he's having a good time. Caraxes comes through the fireball with like a huge smile on his face. And they're living a life as guests in Pentos. And I remembered something yesterday after we were done. And the discord with them in Pentos, it's not just what was proposed to Laena. I think it's because they've been there for so long already, and they've pushed back the date that they were going to leave multiple times already.
Yeah. And she knows she's going to have a baby soon.
Yeah, and she wants to have that one at home.
Yeah, which is absolutely understandable.
Totally understandable.
I wouldn't have wanted to give birth and like while visiting someone.
Yeah.
I don't want to be around my family. Right, because then you have to wait even longer to go home.
Yeah, and she wants to go home, and the Dorne treatment that their relationship got, I don't like it at all. Found out later we were supposed to get 3 other episodes. I'm sure other things were going to be in those episodes, but a lot of the focus was going to be on Laena and Daemon's relationship, which, again, this is another child of Corlys and Rhaenys has trained them up right, and they're making it work.
I would have liked to see more Laena. I really liked her. I liked her, like, her sassiness or whatever you want to call it.
And they finally gave her a decent wig.
It was all right. It wasn't
And it wasn't great. No, it wasn't great, but it was a lot better than the previous ones.
Yeah, it was definitely better than the curly Party City wig. I'm like, you couldn't brush it out or something.
Season
like,
2,
straight out the package.
There are teenagers on Instagram that have better wig game than y'all.
Yes,
get it together.
That's what I always think about, actually, because I see regular people every day whose wigs look better than that. And I'm like, you guys have a lot of money. You couldn't just like maybe hire just like a Black stylist to install it if that's what you need. I don't know who the stylist is. I don't know who's doing their wig. Like, they should get whoever does Queen Latifah's hair, which today I find out her name is Aisha Merriweather. Hire her, because Queen Latifah's hair is always laid, no matter what. Her hair color is sickening. So, maybe they should hire her to start doing some wigs. I don't know.
That just reminded me how much I miss 90s music.
Sidebar, the room where Prince Reggio of Pentos is feasting them looked to me like the floor map room that Cersei, do you know what I'm talking about? The room where Cersei made the floor.
Yeah, the map room. I still got to go back and rewatch that.
Yeah, it looked like the same room to me, because when that scene started, I thought that's where they were. And then I started realizing they were in Pentos. So I do wonder if they used the same set.
That's a pretty, I would see them using the same sets for different places. Yeah. Because there's a lot that has to go on, and you can't just have separate locations for everything all the time. Even that would get even more expensive.
Let's stick with Lena and Damon for a while, because there's not a whole lot of them.
Yeah, there's not too much more with them. The dinner where the proposal was made for one of the girls, I think was to marry his son or nephew or something. And it wasn't really even because they wanted the marriage. No, they just want the dragons, because her mom stuff is popping off again.
Her mom jokingly says, if you want to marry my daughter, blah, blah, blah. And her daughter is like, what?
Like, and I think who?
Yeah, I think, and he wasn't proposing that at all. He was, proposing that they stay so he can use their dragons. And, she was, I think, just kind of kidding. But we learned that, because he says you have three dragons, soon possibly 4.
Yeah.
And because she's pregnant, 4 because she's pregnant. And we learned that way that Rhaena's egg never hatched.
Mm-hmm.
So we have another.
And she's very hypersensitive.
Yes, to that. Sensitive about it. So we have.
Sadly, it's more on Damon, I think.
Well, yes, because he shows so much attention to Bela.
Yeah, Bela's the most like him. She of the twins, she's the troublemaker. Always. Yeah. She's the troublemaker. She's already a dragon rider. We see that small little clip of him teaching her High Valyrian. So we know it's like they're learning the mother tongue.
Right.
So, and I'm sure that there are also lessons with Rhaena, but Damon just doesn't know how to really even approach Rhaena yet. He's not good with feelings at all. He's a creature of action. But he does love his family. And I'm, again, upset that we're not going to get those 3 episodes. I mean, hopefully, fingers crossed for the Blu-ray. Maybe they'll put them on there. But I think the outlook that a lot of folks have on Damon as they've presented him for the show would have, I think, could have been shown a little bit more truer with more scenes with him and Lena. Because he very much cares about his family. For all the shit that Damon does, none of that matters. He is always Team Targaryen. He loves his kids. He loves his wife. And in that conversation that him and Lena have right there, she says, I'm probably not the wife that you wanted. I'm not beefing about it. I got over that a long time ago. And he turns and looks at her like, Lena, but she doesn't let him finish. I think if she had, he would have absolutely dispelled what she just says, because I don't think there's any doubt, at least to me. Maybe I could be reading it wrong. I don't think there's any doubt that he absolutely loves her and those girls.
In addition to learning that Rhaena's egg never hatched, we learned that Lena didn't have a dragon until she was 15.
And it was Vhagar.
And it was Vhagar. So, and she said like roughly half of the eggs never hatch. So
Mhm.
that goes back to, Allison being a jerk,
Yeah.
where her son, like lots of people don't get a dragon right away.
Now her kids
So,
are 100% Valyrian on both sides,
right,
and still one of their eggs didn't hatch. So
right.
shut the fuck up, Allison. Can't stand her.
We get to see Lena's labor, which is a
Oof.
stark contrast to
Yeah.
Rhaenyra's.
It pains me every time. Seeing childbirth in general, until you can watch all the documentaries you want, until you actually see it with your own eyes, it's not gonna affect you that much. I remember me and one of my cousins watching her older sister have her first kid. She was fine. I mean, she was in pain, obviously, while she's trying to push the kid out. But the doctors were kept looking over at me because I could barely deal with what I was seeing. like my cousin was holding me and I'm sitting there shaking and making random weird noises because like every time she pushes, I'm like, it's we're like, are you going to be okay? Are you sure? And that was just me on the sidelines. So to know, to just see that pain on Lena, and then we hear that the kid is not going to come out, and even if we do go in and try to cut it out, it's not guaranteed that it's going to live. But either way, Lena is not. No matter what, they're to the point to where they are sure, no matter what the outcome, today, Lena is going to die. And this is, you put this up against the same choice that Viserys had. I think he made his decision pretty quickly because he was worried about an heir. Daemon, honestly, even if Daemon was in the position to be worried about an heir, I don't think he would have just outright said, save my son, or whatever it was that Viserys replied. I think he would have talked to Lena, told her what was going on, and he would have left the decision to her. But Lena heard what they were saying, and she said, nah, not going out like that. She walked down the beach to Vhagar. Oof. Vhagar did not want to do it. She gave the order like 5-6 times, and Vhagar was just looking at her like, but what you mean though? Are you sure? And
Yeah,
it just, the sounds that Vhagar was making was like a little hurt puppy.
Oh,
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's a tough choice. It's a tough choice. It's a tough position for Daemon to be in, because you're being told that your wife is going to die either way. Which kind of pain do you want her to die in, basically?
Yeah. And that's why I think he would never have chosen.
Knowing that his son might, or not, we don't know if it was a son, knowing that that third baby might not even live. I was glad that he ended up not having to make the choice, that she got to make the choice. We saw how horrible it was for Emma. Yeah. And they were really rough with Emma. They were really rough with her. They treated her like she was a little rag doll. Like, yo, chill. This is the fucking queen. What is wrong with you? The moment Viserys agreed for her to have that horrible C-section, it didn't matter. She was just a cadaver to them at that point. Yeah. And so they were really rough with her. And I wonder if Lena would have been treated the same way, and if Daemon would have allowed it. But we'll never find out, because we'll never know. But I feel like Daemon would have punched somebody in the face. Daemon just don't mess with stuff like that. Don't mess with his family, man. Yeah, but at least she got to go out on her own terms and quickly. Yeah, rather than he did try to get to her. He did try to get to her. It seemed like he knew where she'd go too. Yeah. Which again speaks to the nature of their relationship. He knew her well enough to not even have to dilly-dally and search around the castle they were at. He knew to go right to the beach. Yeah. That was a really sad scene. I didn't expect to cry. Yeah. I did wish to see more Elena, but what can you do? Yeah. That actress, I don't remember her name. Yeah. You knocked it out the park, ma'am. Yeah, she did. I don't remember her name either, but yeah, she definitely did. Let's go back. Let's go back to
Westeros.
to Westeros, to the Red Keep, and talk about the fight in the training yard. Kristen, the incel Cole.
Fucking Crispy. He doesn't get the honor of me saying his name ever again.
Crispy Coleslaw. He is baiting Harwin.
Mm-hmm.
And when Harwin made a good point. If you're going to train them all the same way, especially because this boy is going to be the heir.
This boy is
possibly
the heir.
His brother. So
I don't care what your feelings are, Crispy. If you are given a job, you need to still be doing that job
and do it right
within the confines of what you're supposed to be doing. Right, do it correctly. And
he lets his bitterness. He lets his bitterness towards Rhaenyra completely rule him. And it's like, bro, it's been 10 years. You have got to let that hurt go. Like, are you really just going to carry this for the rest of your life and just hate her guts?
What would have happened had Rhaenyra said yes? You would have had to leave and go across the narrow sea. And yeah, okay, you can fight. You could join some sellsword company, but you have to hide because Viserys would absolutely have sent how many ever troops he needed to
get
find
his daughter
her.
back.
And hello, you have a whole ass dragon. What are you gonna do with Syrax? You can't hide that. What? You would have been found instantly as soon as all of those ravens went out to how many ever high lords over there in the free cities. I'm looking for my daughter. This many gold dragons in the pot for you if you find her. Immediately, y'all are gonna get snatched up. What were you thinking?
Running away with the princess, I think, would be a death wish.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, it just kind of made me think of Sarah Targaryen. That would be Viserys's aunt, and how she ran away, but nobody took her there. She left on her own. Kristen earlier also, when talking to Alicent, refers to Rhaenyra as a spoiled little cunt. And even that was even too far for Alicent.
Alicent corrected him the look she gives him.
Yeah, because he really went too far.
Way too far.
You're talking about the princess and the heir, and you are the son of a steward. Yes, you're a knight of the King's Guard, but you need to rein that in.
And
like,
also,
I can call her a spoiled little cunt, but you can't.
And also, okay,
like, remember your place.
That's still bae. Okay, don't think just because we mad at each other, that's not bae. All right, you ain't gonna be talking. I can say shit. I can talk my shit. You can't say nothing. And he knew that. He because he as soon as he saw that look on her face, he was like, ooh.
Apologies.
Yeah, shut up.
Was beneath me. Yeah. Anyway, in the training yard, we get to see Lionel watching the interaction between Harwin and Rhaenyra's children. He obviously knows those are his grandkids.
Harwin, what the hell are you doing at the training session, though?
Don't you have a city watch to be commanding right now?
You have a whole ass city guard to be commanding. Why are you here, sir? I mean, I get it, but why are you here?
Yeah. And I mean, and like when Kristen Cole says, you know, it's weird to see such devotion to their training, unless you're a brother or an uncle, a cousin, or their dad. And I mean, he did have a point.
He did, but Harwin,
why is the commander of the city watch so invested?
Not only are you there, right? Not only are you there, just you being there poses questions. And then you let yourself get baited. You saw what he was doing and you played into it still.
Right. I mean, I was happy to see Kristen Cole get beat up, but you know that's what he wanted because he didn't even fight back.
He still would have got his ass beat even.
That's what well, yeah, we're talking about break bones here. And he said something like, that's what I thought, or something like that when he's on the ground. And
I saw that.
Confirms that he was absolutely baiting him.
And there's something else there. See, and that fight came about because Crispy put Jace up against Aegon. Which, again, unfair match. Aegon is how much further along in training and twice his size. Even as sparring partners, that's not a match that should have been made. But he knew what buttons.
Not at this
Not
level
at this
of training.
stage. Yes, he knew that would be the thing. And not only does he pair them together, he literally snatches this boy up, the heir to the throne. He snatched him up by his chest plate and treat him like a little rag doll. Sir, you were asking for it again. Yeah, he was baiting it, but
his bitterness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's his bitterness.
That could have easily been
showing
his son.
Openly. Right. And it's funny that, not funny, Viserys is still so optimistic. You know, he's watching all this and he's like, oh, look, see, they train together. They're bonding. And it's like, I almost feel bad for him because I know how badly he just wants everyone to be happy and for everything to work out. That he's just so oblivious to the tension.
How long do you have to be in that position though before you really start seeing this? Like, things are not going to go right just because you're hoping on a prayer and wishing that they will. He said, "I'm poor Lionel. Lionel can't really say anything because those are his grandkids too."
He doesn't want to see them killed.
He absolutely wants to yell at Crispy also, but he's better at keeping his decorum. It's another good meme that came about from this episode is exactly Lionel and him talking. It's like, look at my grandkids, our grandkids, my liege. What you mean? Huh? What? The memes give me life.
It's almost sad when you know what's coming it's almost sad to see how optimistic Viserys is.
And just how someone can trap themselves in their own delusion. And and
it's clear, I think, that Rhaenyra is still his favorite.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that's another thing Alicent is bitter about. We don't really get to see his interactions with the kids, other than when Aegon was being too rough with Jace.
Yeah, he did yell at him to make him stop.
Yeah, but other than that, I don't think we've really seen much interaction between him and his kids.
No, not
the
a whole
boys,
lot at all.
Rather, or Helena even.
There is one thing that I remembered again. Yes, there's a bunch of stuff I remembered after we got done talking. If you look at Aegon when that fight is happening, Aegon is messy. He was literally standing there smiling, watching them fight. I'm like, hold on, little boy.
Oh, you mean Aemond?
No, Aegon. Go.
Oh, and watching Kristen Cole.
Watching Kristen and Harwin fighting.
Okay.
Yeah, he's sitting there smiling, looking like, oh, who's going like? I question whether he knows why they're fighting him. I mean, he might, but again, a whole lot of stuff doesn't matter to Aegon right now. He's just there watching this fight, and he's like, "Ooh, this is gonna be juicy to talk about later." And
yeah, I'm messy too, so I enjoy mess. So I would have been standing there watching all the mess,
right? Making bets on the side.
Yeah.
But Aegon, small little other tidbit about him. Aegon is already like putting in his application to train like Aegon the Fourth when it comes to these poor handmaidens, because he looked over there at those two girls, and I don't know if the younger one really noticed, but the older one did, and she snatched her up like, "Nah, come on, we're going inside." Like, what the hell have you been doing to the staff, Aegon? You nasty.
Yeah. And knowing that he yanks his piece out the window, he's into some depraved behavior, probably.
Like those girls already know to be afraid of him, and that's very troubling.
Do you want to talk about the confrontation between Lionel and Harwin that Rhaenyra overhears?
Yeah, that Lionel wasn't wrong.
Lionel's put in a very, very shitty position.
Very.
Where his heir is sleeping with the heir to the throne behind her husband's back. He has fathered 3 children with her, and they're facing execution. Execution for Harwin, for the children, and unlikely that Rhaenyra would be executed, but exiled possibly.
Possibly.
I doubt Viserys would execute her. But but this, this is serious. And Harwin feels that he can no longer serve as hand and be impartial because he's looking at his son and his grandchildren in danger. How do you give advice? How do you give advice when something like that's going on? Because what if it comes up? What are you going to do? If he asks what to do about it, are you going to suggest that they be executed?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Harwin is not Harwin, but Lionel is not wrong in his assumptions. And he's not wrong to be worried because he does not move like Otto Hightower. From the moment we started interacting with Lionel, he moves different. He is very capable. He is very intelligent, very honest. He doesn't do the backhand dirty dealings and whatnot. I mean, pushed into a corner if he absolutely had to, I think he might, but here we see that that's just not in his nature to automatically think to do. And Harwin, yeah, you and Rhaenyra put this man in a very dangerous situation. Being as open as you were, showing the whatever feelings you guys had for each other, showing his grandkids. He can't even properly protect his grandkids if something really were to happen and go down with them.
He can't even acknowledge them.
He can't acknowledge it, right?
Acknowledge them.
So yeah, you put the hand in a really bad position.
Right. And the thing is, at least if Rhaenyra gave birth to 3 brown-haired babies that look nothing like her husband, obviously whispers were going to happen, but the fact that they can all put a name to who the father is means that they have been brazen.
Yes, like
she hasn't even been trying to hide it.
We see that Harwin's around all the time, and just a little bit that they've shown us. This has been 10 years that has passed of them doing this, so there's been a whole lot more things that we haven't seen.
Right.
So where everyone is pretty much sure that this is what's happening. So of course Harwin,
and just because she knows that Laenor knows and they have their agreement and that her dad is going to ignore
that doesn't matter for the public eye.
Still be so brazen.
Mm-hmm. Totally
there's
agree.
a lot of things she was getting away with when she was much younger that she just cannot get away with anymore.
Yeah.
She can't be that insolent teenager anymore because she's a grown woman with 3 kids now.
Exactly.
And still the heir.
Exactly. And everyone is, she's under that microscope, whether she knows it or wants to be there or not. And I don't think Harwin was necessarily fired from the city guard, because I'm pretty sure that's a position the hand takes care of. Was he fired, or did Lionel make him step down?
No, he was fired.
Okay.
Because when Lionel goes to resign because of his son's behavior in the yard, in the training yard, Viserys says that he's been removed from command of the City Watch, and he's like, "Isn't that punishment enough?"
That's punishment enough.
Like, no.
But
he was fired. But he wasn't fired for his dealings with Rhaenyra. He was fired for fighting fighting a Kingsguard in the training yard.
Which again, you really should have known better, Harwin. You really should know better. I get it. That's your kid. I understand. However,
yeah, I absolutely understand.
You have to.
He's messing with your kids.
Yeah, you got to be a little better in your movements, though. But I'm
pretty sure I'd fight another kid.
Mm-hmm. Easily.
I'm pretty sure I'd fight a kid
easily
over mine. So I get it.
Yeah. But Viserys doesn't want him to go, though. So he tells him, "No, you have to stay. If it's punishment enough, if you need to take him home, okay, cool. You can do that. But no, you're coming back here as hand."
Right. So we have the council meeting where Alicent attended, and I wondered, why is the queen?
Why is she still at these meetings? And they're not explaining that. It makes no sense. Every time I see her in the meeting, it makes no sense that she would be there.
Because the queen isn't part of the council
at all. And we know Alicent doesn't care about running anything. I think she's really just there because nobody's going to tell the queen to leave. And of course, she has to see what Rhaenyra is doing.
And it also shows how much control she has over Viserys, because she's the one who calls an end to the meeting. And she's sitting there where the hand should be sitting.
Yeah.
Did you notice that too?
Where the hand should be sitting. And it's very much focused on with the camera that Lionel is sitting next to Rhaenyra.
Right.
So.
Oh wait, yeah, he was sitting in the right place. Oh, she's sitting where Damon's
She's sitting,
seat used to
yeah,
be.
she's sitting directly across from Lionel.
Yeah, so she's sitting where Damon's seat used to be.
Mhm.
But still, I wondered what she's even doing in the High Council meeting. But you see that she runs Viserys.
That's pretty much it.
Other than the fact he won't let her talk about Rhaenyra's children, she pretty much runs him.
Mhm.
And
It's low key senior abuse, because like we see how she just does not pay attention at all to anything this man is saying, whether it's in the small council meeting or if it's just them in their room. She does not care about anything he's saying. She only cares that he's not listening to her about Rhaenyra.
right.
It's ridiculous.
And for me, it brings back what I was saying about walking back my comments, because I was saying that she's kind of controlled by Otto, but that was 10 years ago.
Maybe in the beginning she was, but right now, this is all her own machinations.
Because if she can run roughshod over the king like that, these are her acts and her ideas.
Yep, Otto hasn't been there for a whole decade.
Right. You know, and the fact that she can act the way she does toward the king tells you that no one's controlling her. Because if the king himself can't control her.
Yeah, no one else can say anything to her. He's the only one that could say something. I mean, Rhaenyra eventually, but she's not on the throne yet.
Right.
And here, I think this the meeting is important though, because we see that, like what I was saying earlier, we see how Rhaenyra, to this point now that we've moved forward a little bit in the episode, to this point, she's taking the overall look of the picture and she's trying to assess things. And she's actually saying some very sound things in this meeting, like when it comes to the stepstones again and the issues that are going on there. She takes responsibility. She's like, no, we should have properly defended that. It doesn't matter that Daemon is there or that Lord Valerion was supposed to be watching over it. No, we should have built battlements. We should have had garrisons stationed there to make sure everything stays running the way we want it to make sure it actually stays peaceful and no other type of battles or wars are coming up. And Alicent is just sitting there trying to shoot all of this down, like, and talking about, we're rich, our coffers are full, but we don't always have money for everything. Are you joking, bitch? What?
Right. I mean, Rhaenyra makes a good point when she says that war is more expensive. And then, Lionel agrees with Rhaenyra about what to do with the Brackens and Blackwood.
And she's muttering.
And you see Alicent scoff, like, of course.
Like, bitch, shut up. Why are you here? Shut up.
Like, she's completely ruled by her bitterness.
Yeah, she doesn't want to see. She doesn't want to see the logic or sense in anything anyone else is saying.
Whatever Rhaenyra does, she has to disagree.
She has to disagree with it. That's where she is. And especially
now, when Rhaenyra makes her apology, well, first of all, the king told everyone to be seated when Rhaenyra said she had something to say, and Alicent did not.
She very pointedly does not, and stares Rhaenyra down, daring her to say something about it. And it's kudos to Rhaenyra because she just brushes past it. She doesn't stay with the petty bullshit. She gets right to the point.
She doesn't get baited like Harwin. She humbly apologizes and makes her look good, and then suggests a match between Jace and Helena, which if they were true-born children, would be a great match.
True.
I kind of understand Alicent not wanting that match.
She still would have said no, though.
I mean, she still would have said no because she hates her. But come on, Rhaenyra, you know that she knows they're not true-born. That match was not going to happen. But
the fact that she made that match.
Yeah, the gesture matters. It makes Rhaenyra look much better. And look how happy it made Viserys.
And like everyone around the table, except Lord Beastbury, because poor Lord Beastbury
Beastbury.
I don't know why he's still there. He's already about to be old and senile, poor kid.
Poor guy. He has no idea what's going on around him.
Not at all.
But I think that even if Jace and Helena were to marry and rule together, like Rhaenyra suggested, I still think that Alicent would have wanted Aegon to be the heir.
Yeah.
instead of her. I don't think that would have been enough
She
to
would have,
know
yeah,
that
she would
Helena
have
is
been trying
queen.
to do something. Yep. Because Helena would not have the power to do that. And it's
Right.
random sidebar on Helena. I don't recall this being anything before. So I'm wondering how that's going to play out with the events to come and her being a dreamer.
We can talk about that in the spoiler
Yeah,
section.
put a pin in that. We'll come back to it.
Yeah. Yeah. After the council meeting, angry Alicent goes to her meeting with Laris, the messiest bitch in
But
Westeros.
bruh, it's been so interesting to see how Laris moves. And when it gets to this point here, I didn't expect him to go the route that he did. I thought how strong honestly was moving as one single unit. Lionel's now the hand. We got one guy in Rhaenyra's camp, another kid in Alicent's camp, and no, we just go in a circle and we make sure that how strong comes up good either way, however the cookie crumbles. But Loras apparently had some feelings that we didn't know about, and he does not care at all about this little planning of a murder session that's going on here.
Right. I was trying to understand what Laris's motivations were, and then I kind of came to the conclusion that because of his disability, you know how Westeros treats disabled people.
Yeah.
He's unlikely to get a good match for marriage. His brother is the heir, so he's not going to inherit Harrenhal. And we don't know how his father treats him, because he clearly doesn't give a shit about his father either.
Yeah.
In this session where he talks with Alicent about a way to get Otto back, Alicent had to know.
How could she not?
Since Viserys was not going to let Lionel resign, she had to know that the only way for him to go
only one
and
way
get
to get
Otto
rid of
back
the hand
is death. And she says about Otto coming back that he would be partial to her, and she complains that no one's on her side.
And complains that Lionel isn't going to be able to give an impartial decision on anything concerning Rhaenyra or his grandkids. But you want your dad to come back.
Right. You points out that neither will Otto, and she says, well, he'll be partial to me.
And that right there, like, for anyone that was still Team Green, that right there should be where you side-eye this bitch like, oh, wait a minute, hold on, rewind.
It shows her hypocrisy again.
She is not there for anything good.
She doesn't want an impartial hand.
Nope.
She wants someone to do what she wants.
Yep.
And as much as she kind of runs Viserys, she can't get him to call out Rhaenyra. That's the one thing she cannot get him to do.
You know, I will say, I am very interested in seeing how these new interactions coming between her and Otto are going to go, because she's not that scared little girl that's going to do everything Daddy tells her anymore.
Right.
And she very firmly has power over his position now.
Well, at this point, they want the same things. When
True.
she was younger,
True.
she didn't think it was a good idea to, go against Rhaenyra as heir.
She was looking out for her friend. Yeah.
Right. Now she's completely
she's
obsessed.
all in. She's bitter.
Said, she's unhinged,
Like she when it comes to any conversation about Rhaenyra, she can flip so quickly.
She hates her.
She hates her. Like, and I'm saying that type of hate only comes in with a lover scorned, man. I don't know. I know people are saying that it's there, and if you read it, then okay, but it wasn't done on purpose. You can go on TikTok and look at the actress's a live that she did. She said they very purposely played it that way.
Right.
They played that undertone specifically for that reason.
Right. I was gonna say that it was more so undertones than the two of them ever acting on it, but they did have love between them. Not love that they would act on physically.
Physically, yeah, but it was there.
Ladies, but the feelings were there.
Yep.
And they, the actresses made that clear that is what they were going for, because first episode, after the first episode, Nikki and I were talking about that. I'm like, were you getting kind of sapphic vibes there?
Yeah. When you did the premiere, that's why that's when I told you. It's like, yeah, it's there.
Yeah. Right. So Harwin asks for leave. I'm sorry, Lionel asks for leave to take Harwin home. As Harwin is giving his goodbyes, which were really sad, he says to the baby, next time I see you, I'll be a stranger. And then Jace asks if Harwin is his father, and his mother does not give him an answer. She just says, you're a Targaryen.
Jace is on the up and up.
Jace knows what's up.
Jace is on the up and up. And hence why later on in the story, we see why he was given some of those responsibilities he was given. The kid's smart.
Yeah. I felt bad for him because not only is he questioning his own parentage and wondering if he's a bastard, he's also saying goodbye to this male role model that he's looked up to all these years, who is, to him is potentially his father.
And also another thing to add in is he doesn't have the confidant in Aegon that he used to anymore. Because after what happened in the training yard, the lines are almost very clearly drawn now. And even when that whole thing started, they were still actually decent, because like he walks by Aemon and he shoulder checks him, and Aegon passes by him and he's smirking about it, pats him on the back as they're passing each other, like, yeah, I see you, cuz. even at that point in time, they were still okay, but then everything went south, and now he's lost his father figure. He's lost his best friend. All of these things are coming to fruition. He finds out now that he's a bastard. That's a lot for a little 12-year-old to handle.
Right. I mean, he doesn't get a confirmation that he is, but now we know that he's wondering about it.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's going to notice, like, why is my hair brown and not my skin?
Very much so. Very much so.
Kids aren't completely dumb.
Not at all.
They catch on to things. And I'm sure he's heard the whispers too. That the staff and the servants are probably whispering about it, and he knows what's going on.
And Aegon being the asshole that he is, he's heard the whispers and he's teased them about it. Yeah.
We'll get into that later, of course. So I won't go too much into it now, because the show will give us what we need.
Yeah.
Laris makes this deal with these prisoners: trade your tongue for your freedom and go murder my family.
And here, my question, take this marker so people know you're mine, and then they know not to touch you.
Why are you wearing a brooch for the person who sent you to commit homicide?
Also,
but then I thought that perhaps it was just for the viewer to remember who they are, because there's someone we've only seen briefly.
I mean,
that's the only thing I can think of why they'd be wearing the brooches.
If they're going to use those folks again, I think we're all astute enough to be able to remember. Oh no, those were those guys that Laris had going.
Not all of us. Not all of us.
Okay, but it can be figured out.
I can speak for us, you and I.
Yeah.
I can't speak for the viewership at large.
True enough.
People don't always pay attention. We're like all laser-eyed because we're dumb nerds about it. But people are looking at their phones and unable to keep track of characters as it is, especially with all these damn Targaryen names that
all sound alike.
Right.
Yeah, true enough. Fair enough.
And then that's the end of Harwin and his dad. He dies a horrible death, being burned alive.
Oof. Yeah, man. And Harwin could have made it out. Like when I first saw the scene, I thought it was Harwin that was in the room on fire, but it was actually Lionel. And Harwin was trying to get to him, I think.
Yeah, no, Harwin was the one burning. Lionel was the one trying to break open his door with the poker. Yeah, with the fireplace poker. He was trying to, so both of their doors were barred.
Man.
And it looks like the fire started closer to Harwin.
Yeah, that was tough to watch.
Oh my God.
I didn't expect to lose either of their characters this soon.
I absolutely wanted more Harwin. I mean, I wanted to kind of, I know it's kind of a side thing, but I would have loved to get into why his name Breakbones. I would have loved to see
How you don't show him breaking bones, HBO?
I don't know, show him training or something, also give him to me shirtless, just and sweaty, just for, just a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? I have very actively in my commentary from the beginning of the season, I've taken up the cause of my straight sisters out there. Y'all, you got to do better, okay? Give the ladies some nice chesticles and some abs to look at, some nicely shaped butts, some thick thighs in training, running something. Be fair with the nakedness that you're showing.
I did appreciate that they didn't show sex scenes between him and Rhaenyra, even implied sex scenes. You get a glimpse of their intimacy. It wasn't needed. You get a glimpse of their intimacy through the way they look at each other, through his tenderness towards the children. And I appreciated that because, gratuitous sexposition was a problem with Game of Thrones.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
And it doesn't need to be so blatant. We're not stupid. You can show us in other ways.
Yeah.
And you already know I hate needless sex scenes.
Yeah. Tanya is not
sometimes I'm just
for the sex position at all.
I'm not and I love a good sex scene, but make it
make sense though.
It has to make it make sense. And sometimes it's just thrown in and it's just this is not furthering anything.
Yeah, you know what? And it could sound very weird coming from me for folks that have followed me for a while and have read some of my fanfics. Yeah, a lot of times they're just, porn with a little bit of plot. But if it doesn't make sense to fit in a scene, don't put it there.
Yeah, we didn't as much as I
didn't need to see them doing the do.
Yeah, as much as I would love to see the actor who plays Harwin, I would love to see his legs bare. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. And I liked the way they show that it's not just sex between them.
Yeah.
That they
true
love
intimacy.
Each other.
Yeah. Something that's rarely shown in Westeros, which is weird. It's one of the reasons why I love the relationship between Corlys and Rhaenys so much.
I do too. And the way they are able to communicate so much with just the look shows you how close they are.
Lord and Lady of the Petty, that whole thing with them at the tourney, loved it.
Oh yeah, I love that. I love that. So Harrenhal burns down. The news gets back to Alicent. Again, poor Harrenhal. The news gets back to Alicent, who is shocked, just shocked that that Larys would do something so heinous.
Are you, Alicent?
And Larys is and I love how Larys is just I was doing you a favor, and he's just playing with the flowers, and it's did he just blackmail her? And for all of her, again, her talk of honor and decency,
I didn't want this.
She didn't report
at all.
She's not going to.
Because what's the worst that could happen if she did report Larys? Viserys is obviously going to cover up any type of involvement, and there's no recorders or anything back then. Larys can say all the accusations that he wants. He can't prove that.
No, and
so absolutely nothing would happen to her.
Who's going to listen to this guy who just kind of lurks around the castle over the queen? And you can see that there would be obvious motivations for Larys to kill them because he knows he's not inheriting Harrenhal by getting rid of his father and his older brother. It makes Harrenhal his.
Sorry,
so it could have absolutely nothing.
Who even wants to inherit Harrenhal? I'm sorry, that's
so cursed.
I don't want to live in a castle full of ghosts and curses. No, thank you.
But you can see very clear motivations for why he would have them killed that don't involve Alicent.
At least I hope that was one of the motivations, because what else could you be getting from that?
No, I don't think it actually was one of the motivations. I think that if Alicent were to report him, she could say that he was just motivated by power and wanted to be the Lord of Harrenhal. And again, who's going to dispute her besides Larys?
No one. Viserys would absolutely believe any lie that she spun, even if he had doubts.
Larys has her shook. Larys has her absolutely shook.
And I think there's a reason for that. We'll talk about that in the tinfoil
in our tinfoil section.
Yeah.
I wonder how their relationship's gonna play out now in future episodes. It'll be interesting
Yeah,
to
it's
see
gonna
their
be
dynamic
real
and how it's
interesting.
changed
And
now that she knows
also,
he will kill.
how he's gonna act around Otto.
Yeah,
Because they're both two, masters of what they do in the shadows. So that's going to be very interesting to see.
I think Laris is better at it. Otto was too heavy-handed.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was not. He was just too heavy-handed. He was doing too
There's
much.
Did you ever watch Recess, the
I
cartoon?
don't. Yeah, but I barely remember it.
They're the playground snitch.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking
Ronald,
about with the
yeah,
little notebook and he's like
yes,
leaning over it. Yes.
there's a meme of him
Same
next to
energy.
Lars, and it is the exact same energy. I don't know how I didn't see that immediately looking at this man. Even the little hunched over look
Right.
that Randall has, hilarious.
Is there anything about the episode that you want to get into before we go into spoilers?
Nothing. Well, I question if Crispy and Allison have done the do. I know you were saying you don't think
I
that
don't
she
think they
has,
did.
but
I don't think so.
know. I don't know.
Because I think she's still a lady and like ladylike enough to not sleep with the Kingsguard member, especially because she frowns on Rhaenyra so much for doing it. And I think I mean, I know she's a hypocrite
She's a
in a lot of
hypocrite,
ways, but
though.
I don't think she would sleep with him. And I also think that Kristen Cole's that behavior is behind him as
His
well,
one and
because he was
done.
ready to kill himself over Rhaenyra. So what would happen if he started sleeping with the queen? He felt so bad about his honor after that.
His
And I
honor.
don't think,
Oh, fuck him and
yeah.
his honor.
But I actually I don't think that that's happened between them. I don't think so.
We shall see. I'm keeping it in the wings.
Add that to your fanfic.
Yep. Probably. Look, the spreadsheet that I have already of random plot points that I could hit. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. My imagination knows no limits sometimes. It's not always a good thing.
You want to get into spoilers now?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, if you're listening and don't want spoilers, this is your time to check out. Thank you again. But it's spoiler time in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's talk spoilers. Which one would you like to start with?
Let's go with Lars. I'm not sure if it's really a spoiler, but a theory that's going around with where he's headed in the plots, and it's him possibly being a skin changer. And the reason that he knows all these things and that he became the master of whispers is that he's skin changing the rats
so the rat that we keep
the episodes.
seeing.
And that one, they keep zooming in on this one rat. And there's the scene where I think it's after Allison's and Viserys have that argument, and we see the rat like going over the mantle place. Viserys actually turns and looks and has this look on his face as he's viewing the rat, like almost like he knows something's off there, but he's still thinking about the argument. So he turns back around and he's like, eh.
I read it as, damn, we really got to get some cats in here.
and what happens in the future? The freaking Red Keep is filled with cats just roaming about all the time everywhere.
I think the thing I wanted to talk about was the potential of Helena being a dreamer. So when she says he'll have to close an eye, we know that Aemond goes on to be known as Aemond One Eye. And, he loses his eye and gains Vhagar. And Helena's comment is showing that she somehow seems to know what's going to happen.
That's coming.
So is she a dreamer? And also, what else are we going to find out from her that's coming? So now I'm going to be paying attention to Helena a lot.
With the main event once it comes up. That's going to be definitely that's going to be really cool to see, I think.
Yeah, I definitely want to pay closer attention to Helena now.
Yeah, definitely. I think maybe they actually had to do a little something like that because there's not a whole lot to Helena's character.
There's not a lot of
story.
magic yet.
Yeah. I think they're easing in the magic. I mean, the dragons are, you can say, are magical on their own, but there are other elements, and it's not just in the north. It's very strong in the north still because there's still a lot of firstman blood there, but it is still spread out over Westeros. Just, you know, with there's certain bloodlines that tie in.
And we know that many Targaryens have been dreamers.
Yeah. So it
fits. Daenerys the dreamer.
It started with Daenerys.
It makes sense that there'd be another dreamer. So I'm interested to see how they play this out, and I want to watch.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That's
I want to watch Helena pretty closely.
Mm-hmm. I like that they put that there.
Any other spoilers you want to talk about? I didn't really have a lot.
The difference in how Rhaenyra leaves at the end of the episode. You know, in the original story, we're told that because of some argument or something with her and Alicent, or maybe it was the boys fighting or something or other, but she actually gets banished to Dragonstone because Viserys wants to separate them to, you know, stop the petty bullshit. But here we see she makes a choice to leave and go to Dragonstone, and she says, you know, we should have left years ago. And then, you know, Laenor, he's wanting to go off adventuring or whatever, and he's worried about having to leave his man, and she turns around like, no, bring him with you, come on, we need all the swords we can get.
I feel like her change in position about staying in King's Landing had more to do with Harwin not being there anymore. Yeah,
she's not going to actively have that protection, that lurk protection. It makes sense.
And, you know, there's still the issue of Alicent, as she said, pouring honey into her father's ear. But I think right now she's just upset about Harwin leaving and feels like there's no reason for her to stay now.
Yeah. Which I can understand. And it's not it's not a smart move because, yeah, without Harwin there's a lot more accidents, as we could say, could happen.
But also without Rhaenyra there, she's, as we know, is going to lose control because a lot of times whoever is literally sitting on the Iron Throne is who is the ruler.
Yeah, very true.
So you can call yourself the queen or all you want. You know, this was like with Cersei and Daenerys. Mm-hmm. Daenerys can call herself the queen all she wants, but Cersei's sitting on the throne. But
she's not on the throne, yeah. Very true. I think that was pretty much it. Just that difference, which I like that, actually. I think I like this one better because this is Rhaenyra not necessarily playing the game, but she's planning. She is looking at the full picture now. She's not, you know, dilly-dallying around, still having her hot girl summer. She's actively making plans to make sure things can be secure. And she can't do that very well at the Red Keep because there's elements there that can stop her in different modes.
Well, I mean, I think her overhearing the conversation between Lionel and Harwin kind of put the fire under her ass to like pull it together.
How did she not know people were whispering though? That's the one thing I questioned.
She did know. She was just in denial and was just doing whatever she wanted. She thinks she's Daemon and can just live her life.
Touch of her dad right there, just being delusional, willfully delusional.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think that kind of gave her a rude awakening, how serious this shit really is, and that she needs to chill because she was doing a lot.
Yeah,
she was doing a lot.
The most. Like I get it again, but y'all really should have moved a little better in the shadows, man. Harwin should have been using all them, you know, back alley ways throughout the Red Keep to get around.
It's like she said before, if she'd been a man, no one would care.
Very true. But that again makes it worse because you know that. You actively know that, but you were still so blatant in your actions. Get it together right now. I love you.
Told you, well, you're not a man.
I hurt you, Rhaenyra. You will forever be my queen, but get your shit together.
Yeah. All right, ready to call it?
That is it. I think that's it.
thank you again, AK, for filling in for Nikki. I
Oh,
really,
always
really
a pleasure.
appreciate it. And
Always
I
a
love
pleasure.
chatting with you, so this was great. Remind us again how to find you online.
Yes, if you want to see me on YouTube, I am on AK Watch, and on Twitter, I'm AK_DS09. Swing by later. Well, y'all will see this after, I think. But Sundays, usually I do a watch along. If you want to come and chat about the episode while we watch, come through 9 o'clock sharp. Mondays, we'll do a discussion. And throughout the week, I just bounce around all over YouTube, honestly. I'm usually on my friends' channels more than I'm on my own. So, yeah, there's that.
I'll be sure to put your links in the show notes so that people can find you.
Indeed.
Also, again, I will be joining Costume Cinemato on Tuesday, October 4th at 7 to talk about episode 7. I will put that link in the show comments as well. Thank you again. I've been Tanya. Thank you, AK. And we'll talk to you next time. To find previous episodes, go to thousandeyespodcast.com. You can also find us on YouTube, 1,000 Eyes in One Podcast. And if you'd like to follow us on social media, we're on Twitter as 1,000 Eyes One, Facebook and Instagram, 1,000 Eyes in One. If you're interested in our speculative fiction book club, that is Wine on an Empty Stomach on Instagram.
Always bet on Black.